Hello everybody, hang on, let me get my mic plugged in here. Alright, now everybody should be clear. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Heather Campbell. I'm one of the owners of Pearly Shell Fiber Arts and one of the Pearly Shell Pirates. And I was asked to do a demo today. Last month, during the raw wool sale, one of the things we covered was shearing Angora rabbits. And so today I'm going to cover spinning Angora. Oops. And some of the uses for it. There are 5 different breeds of Angora rabbits. All have a little bit different texture. All of them are a little bit different to spin. All of them have a little bit different use. They're really cool. They're very versatile. Some of the misnomers that you'll hear about Angora is that it is hard to spin, that it is hard to get to stick together, that it is really short stapled, and you'll find when you buy Angora from one of our local sellers, that is not the case. So, I have my Moducraft Rose here. I'm going to show you guys a little bit, set up, how to do this. I'm going to grab a bag of, let's do English. I've got bags of giant everywhere. Bag English, okay. So English Angora are one of my favorite breeds. I have all 4 breeds of AKC, American Rabbit Breeder Association recognized Angora. My main breed is satin, which I will not be spinning today because satin is a hot commodity for us, and we have a lot, and we sell our Angora in gram bags. There's 2 substances that you sell in grams. One is illegal drugs, one is Angora. So we sell it by the gram in our little bags. Now when you get a bag of Angora, or an Angora, you're going to take it, and you're just going to take a little bit in your hand. Now, a lot of people go, you card it, or you run it through combs. I don't do either. I actually spin almost all of my Angora just from the cloud, just like this. That gives you a really textured yarn. Can it also give me a very smooth yarn? Absolutely. So here I have a yarn that I wove. This is satin Angora and English Angora. And you can see this was a textured yarn that I then wove. This is English Angora that we crocheted, and again, it was all spun from the cloud. It doesn't really matter how you do it as to the look you get. Your technique in spinning is what makes the different looks. This is 100% Angora. That's another kind of one of the myths about Angoras, that you need to mix it with with a wool or something to hold it together. Not if you have good Angora. We spin a lot of 100% Angora here at the shop. I'm going to turn you guys down here so you can see my wheel. I can say this is a Moducraft Rose, and I have it set at a medium ratio. I actually tend to spin my Angora very loose because I want it to have a lot of air in it. And I keep my tension turned down when I do this. So then, all I do is I take my little Angora cloud, and I literally just start feeding it in. English Angora really, really, really likes to be lace. But you can see it's a healthy coat. It doesn't have any second cuts in it. So it's not going to do much. I do have a woolly winder hooked up, and this is the only time I really don't care for the woolly winders, is when I am spinning my Angora. I'm going to turn you guys so you can see my hands a little bit more. There you go. All right. There you go. And then I can spin farther back from the orifice. I don't like sitting right up on top of my orifice. So, Angora, another myth about Angora is that it is not strong. It is strong as long as you don't have it filled with guard hair. If you have a coat that is absolutely packed with guard hair, you're going to have more weakness issues. I actually used to have a coat here that I had spun up specifically to show that, and it sold. So the yarn sold the other day. So now I'm going to have to find some more hairy Angora. Make it. English Angora has the fewest guard hairs, and you can see there we go, a lot of crimp in what I'm spinning. It's a very fine crimp, but it is there. When we compare breeds to different breeds of Angora to sheep, a lot of times I do that. I compare English Angora, I put in the same level as I do a Merino. And when we make our roving blends, that's what we do. If you are going to make a roving blend, you can use as little as 10% Angora to get your look. Remember that Angora is very lightweight, and it's going to need it's going to need more, or you're going to need less Angora than you think for the weight. People a lot of times will ask us, well, what weight do you use? And it just depends. How much weight do you put in? We actually go by volume blends because there's really no good way to do it when you compare it to wool because it's so lightweight. So as you can see, I'm spinning a fairly smooth yarn. Now if I wanted to go and spin, let's say I wanted to make a really chunky fun yarn, I'm still going to use just from the cloud. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to count. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, a big chunk of Angora go through. And I'm going to start 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to just start letting it go through as opposed to holding on just a few little tiny strands at a time. I'm just going to keep it going. Which is one way that Angora is really versatile. Is you can get a beautiful lace that will halo later. Hello, Karen! Yay! Somebody commented so I can make sure comments are working. We're just covering a few different uses for Angora today. And I'm spinning on my Moducraft wheel here. Like I said, last raw wool show, we showed how to clip it off. And now we're going to show how awesome it is because there is no prep with Angora. There is no washing. There is no carding. None of that's needed. So there you can see it made a kind of a fun, funky yarn. And if I want to go again down to a lace, I'm going to grab my handful. One of the things we always say at Pearly Shell is there is no bad yarn. If it makes you happy, it is the right yarn for you. And I'm just going to start smoothing it out. And I can go back down to a lace. One of the biggest keys with Angora is make sure that you do not have second cuts in there. Obviously people make mistakes, just like in sheep wool. You're going to have some. That's going to kind of destroy your flow. So keep it good. And feel free to ask me any questions you guys have about the Angoras, the breeds of Angoras, anything, because I am here to answer questions too. Like I say, I'm spinning English Angora right now, which English Angora is the merino of the Angora world. They produce a ton of coat. They are tiny. They are the smallest of the true Angora breeds. We don't really consider Jersey Woolies or American Fuzzy Lops or Lionheads to be Angoras, even though they are wool breeds. And you can spin from them. We have spun lots of Fuzzy Lop. We have spun lots of Jersey Woolly. Oops. There it broke, and that's okay. I'm just going to go back. The English are the fuzzy ones. They've got the cute little fuzzy faces. I am spinning on my woolly winder, and normally I take my woolly winder off to do lace weight Angora. Anyway, English are very mellow. They love people. They're very sweet. If you are looking at getting an Angora, the biggest thing that I say is go ahead and get a sampler and try different kinds of Angora. Also, don't buy a baby under the age of 4 months, ideally under the age of 8 months. Yes, they're adorable. Satin Angoras are magic. Satin Angoras are the silkworms of the Angoras. Is sheep breed, they would compare to Blueface Leicester. They have the sheen is so high and the luster is so high. And that's one of our biggest blends that we do on the roving is the Blueface Leicester and the Satin Angora. They just kind of go together. They are very high luster. If you're going to compare them to a fine wool, it would be Cormo, which has a higher luster than a Merino. Satin Angora. Satins are my primary breed. Satins are magic. You do get less off of them per weight. You should get the same amount per volume as you do from Cat. Try some washed Angora. If you get some in a blend, it may not bother you. I'm actually allergic to Angora, and I've had them for years and years and years. I have to take an allergy pill before I work with it, which I forgot this morning. So when you guys tune into our show at 3:30, all bets are off. But 3:30, 6:30. But really, you do that. And also, the other rule to Angora is never let it touch your eyes. Ever, ever, ever. You will die a million deaths. I am spinning English Angora today. I'm showing a little bit of different techniques. Basically, what I'm showing is how easy it is to spin from the cloud. We have these little bags, or when you get your Angora from anywhere, or when you cut off your own bunny, just go take a section out. You can spin it into lace, or you can spin it into art yarn from the same cloud. I'm going to be alternating, so here I'll do some more art yarn. With the art yarn, I count 1, 2, 3, let it go through, skip a section, let it go through, skip a section, let it go through. And that way it gives me a textured, balanced art yarn, which is really important. We can ply Angora when I go to ply this. You can ply this back with itself. You can ply it with a wool. A lot of times I'll buy a beautiful colored roving and I'll ply it with that. Or I'll ply it, especially if I can find like a camel silk or a yak silk or something really magical. I also use mylar thread, or not mylar. Well, yeah, it is mylar thread. I'll show you that. Which, you can find these special places. And this is literally a mylar thread, and I apply it with that or with a silk thread. Just depending on what look I want and whether I want it to look natural or not. And really, I mean, for years before I had access to all the sheep wool, I spun a ton of Angora, and we still do spin a ton of Angora when I have it in stock, when I don't sell it all. See, now I'm back down to a lace, or to a fine, this would be a fingering. But the biggest advantage to it is that there really is no cleaning. You just can go. I don't have, when I clip it off the animal, I don't have like that big bag of wool sitting back there. I have a small bag that I can just go to town on. Somebody was saying, so I compare English Angora to the Merino. I compare Satin Angora to Blueface Leicester. French Angora would be your Corriedale. It is sturdy. It is solid. It does everything. If you want to just get a little bit of halo in your project by using just a little bit of Angora, French is going to be your key to doing that. French has gives you a lot of halo because they have a defined guard hair and is really good. And then Giant is kind of your workhorse wool. It actually should be closer to English than a lot of Giant is. And it does have the on hair, which is a different We actually all have on hair. Those are the little hairs that stand up on the back of your arms. That's your on hair. Back of your neck when you get scared. But Giant is kind of in between French and English in texture. Giant, I find, is the one that likes to be spun to be the most, to be thicker. It doesn't like to be lace. English always likes to be lace. I'm going to show you guys really quick here. I have a sample on. I just found it. I had it. Couldn't find it. Well, you're going to want a spinning wheel that's going to be able to do a lot of different things. You can spin any Angora on any wheel, and it kind of depends on your price range. It depends on whether you want a beginner wheel or whether you want a wheel that's going to last forever. Like we have the Moducrofts. This is my 12-year-old Moducroft. It never takes a step wrong, and I can do lace to super, super, super bulky on the same wheel, which I really like because I do a lot of different spinning. So I need the versatility. If all you're ever going to do is spin lace, or if all you're ever going to do is spin bulky, then you can choose one of those. It kind of depends. If you can, testing out a lot of wheels is great. If you can't, you're going to look at things like, do you want a double treadle, a single treadle, and then also what is your goal? So this shawl's been through the ringer. It's our sample shawl. But this shawl has all 4 breeds of American Rabbit Breeder Association recognized Angoras. I have had Germans. I don't have them currently. Okay, so this is English Angora, and you can see how it's got a really fine look to it. And the halo is very ethereal. It's kind of just halfway there. So then we go straight from that into the French. Oops. The French, and this is a very correct coat. So we selected really correct coats. You can see there how much more halo the French has, and when you look at it compared to the English, you can see it drastically goes up. Really, you recognize that when Kelly saved this shawl after we had it on display at Oregon Flock and Fiber, and someone came by and cut it. I'm not joking. It was so bad. And I am not a knitter, and I had to knit this one over the winter, over the summer, because we needed a demo shawl really bad. And we actually take it to, we used to take it to a lot of rabbit shows when we showed rabbits. Now we take it to all the fiber events. Then this is Satin Angora. You can see Satin Angora actually still has a lot of halo, but it has a sheen to it compared to the French. The French is kind of matte, and the satin really has a sheen. The satin also spins up really, really, really light and really fluffy. And then we go to Giant, which again has a halo, not as much as the satin or the French. But you can see, okay, so I spun all of these. I spun all the yarn, and I knitted all of it. And you can see how much denser the Giant automatically went up because I speed spun these. So really ended up being what the yarn wanted to be. And they are all 2 plies. You can see how much denser that Giant is than the satin or the French. And then there's the English again. And if you guys are ever at our shop or at one of our booths in person, we often have this here. You just have to not laugh at my awful, awful knitting that I did, because I had to knit it in public and I got off on the spine, and it was, it was an adventure. And then I needed to have it done, so I just finished it. And I did not go back and fix my errors. It's okay. It serves its purpose well. We put it on angles. So you can spin it on any wheel. Like I say, I really like the Moducrofts because they are a one and done wheel. You never need a second wheel. But it depends on what your budget is and what you like and what speaks to you. Because I believe different wheels speak to different people. And I believe the wood speaks to you and what you really enjoy. And I'm so grateful that Danielle is running the shop, so she can't mock me right now. over saying that the wood speaks to me. She forgot I was doing this. It's okay. So, there again, I'm back to lace with my English. Let me grab a bag of the Giant. I'm going to go ahead and open one up. And it will also be black. And I can't tell what time it is. Man, I totally messed up. I'm in here in a room with no windows, no walls, no doors. Okay, not really. There's walls and doors. But there's no clocks. So I'm just going to keep on going. Okay, so here's Giant. You know already when you look at it, see how it's got more guard hair compared to the English. And one isn't worse than the other or anything. It's just completely different uses for these fibers. And so many times I hear somebody go, I got Angora and I thought it was going to be like this. And I hated it. And a lot of times it's just because of the use. You'll also hear, like I was covering earlier, that it is short. This is longer than the staple in most of your wools. This is really nice. So no, Danielle's not here. She's like, yeah, I know. She had one. Just spoke to her. This is longer than the staples of most of your wools. Danielle, you're going to have to let me know what time it is because I, don't even have my Fitbit on today. But you can see because of the structure of the fiber, the difference in the crimp and the difference in the guard hair. This spins, but it doesn't want to. If I was going to spin it as fine as I was spinning the English, I'd have to really slow down and I'd have to really work. It doesn't grab as well, and it doesn't like to be fine. You can spin it fine, but if I switch to more of a worsted weight, it's all good. See, but it automatically goes to that weight, and that is literally the structure of it. French, it can vary depending on your guard hair structure. Your balance. Giant, when it slides through my fingers, has a little bit less luster than the English does. The English is a little bit higher luster. In wool terms, we call that chalky. It's a little bit of a chalkier feel to it. Somewhere out there, somebody's jumping up and down that I used the right term and didn't just say it's dryish. So it's just a whole different thing. Satin Angora is going to spin just like a silk will, and it's super high. It likes to be lace. Angora is all 8 times warmer than wool. If you have only one bunny and you have a whole herd of sheep, use your English Angora on your cuffs around your wrists. Use it on over your ears. Use it on the cuffs of your sock. Angora doesn't felt as well as you would think it would. It's great to add in for socks. If you guys are looking for Socktober, add a little bit of Angora. I don't know why nobody adds Angora to their sock blends. It is so soft, and it actually, makes it warm, it lightens it up, and it makes it, it's hydrophobic, so it resists moisture. So really, all sock blends should have Angora in them in my Angora land. I am sure 1 million people are now going to message me and tell me that is not true. But that's how I would do socks. I totally do socks that way.
Well, I would totally make an outerwear cardigan out of border luster, so it would shed water, and I'd spin it in the grease, and then I'd blend Angora in the collar, so it didn't scratch my neck when I was wearing
Did you guys hear that? She doesn't have her microphone on.
Nope, and I'm wearing a thing.
Here, you repeat that so they can hear it. Yeah, you could make it so that it wouldn't be scratchy, and around your. But can you imagine if you put it like in with socks?
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is before the microphone is I would totally wear I'd make an outerwear sweater out of like, say, Border Leicester. Or Romney. Gosh, I love me some Romney.
Yep.
And I would spin it just cold water soak, not washing the lanolin out with soap. Mm-hmm. So that it would still spun in the grease, so it'd have some water resistancy. And then I would do like a Corriedale Angora collar and cuffs so that it was softer against my neck.
Right. You could totally do that.
And wouldn't be scratchy, but it would be like my outerwear barn coat sweater.
Right. Well, in World War II, they did cuffs. Because if you keep your wrists warm, you stay warmer. It's like you have certain points on your body where if you keep those warm, you stay warmer. And they would do the wrist warmers out of Angora and the head warmers.
It's amazing how warm a cowl can be. When we are freezing
at fiber festivals,
we wear just a cowl around our neck, and it will warm me up so much.
Yep, it's really interesting. So there's a little bit on Angora. You can follow us at pearlyshell.com or on Pearly Shell on Facebook if you want to find out more. Tune into our sale at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern.
Are there rocks ahead?
If there are, we'll dye them red.
Make sure we don't fall off the cliffs of insanity.
Yes. Or go into the fire swamp. That's
next weekend. But we are definitely on the precipice of the cliffs of insanity this week.
Yes, we are. So we will be here and hanging out with you guys for a little half-hour segment to pass some time and do some singing and dancing and still some Angora sampler kits. And we'll see you guys then.
Yes.
Bye.